Well, the election dates for Maharashtra is yet to be announced, but the battle for Maharashtra has begun full swing, or so it seems. The Shinde government has now said they will ask the centre to approve an increase in the non-creamy layer income limit for OBCs to 15 lakh rupees from the current 8 lakh rupees in a state where parties fear or have feared a polarization of votes, particularly with the Maratha quota protests, an impact that was also seen in the Lok Sabha elections. As per the estimate of the State Backward Class Commission, the OBC population in the state is around 38%. And the Marathas themselves constitute around 28% of the state's population. Well, MVA candidates romped home in 7 of the 8 seats in Marathwada when it came to the Lok Sabha elections. Now, the cabinet, which held its 4th meeting in 3 weeks, that's less than a month, have cleared almost 40 proposals, mostly targeting smaller communities and minorities, including, let's just look at some of the proposals, some of the decisions that have really been made. Indigenous cows being declared as Rajmata, Gomata, the madrasa schools, teachers' salaries being hiked, state government employees' gratuity cap being hiked, a 10% salary hike for local level government workers in rural areas, farmers being given subsidies, at least 2,400 crore rupees aid being given to at least 49.5 lakh soyabean and cotton farmers. Remember, all of these are coming very close to the dates being declared for the Maharashtra election. The state is on a spree of clearing land allotments, subsidies and guarantees in the run-up to the polls at a time when the finance department has already warned that fiscal deficit could be as high as 2 lakh crores for 2024-2025. Let's listen in to what the Chief Minister has said.
अब चुनाव कभी भी डिक्लेयर हो सकते हैं, इसलिए अब रिबन काट रहे हैं हर जगह।
तो क्या इसका नहीं लोकार्पण करना है? क्या इसका स्वागत नहीं करना है? जो है अच्छा उसको बोलो। विपक्ष के लिए, विपक्ष को सभी चीजें उल्टी लगती है, लाडली बहन उल्टी लगती है, वो झूठी लगती है, कोर्ट में जाते हैं। हमारी लाडली बहन उनको बराबर उनका हिसाब किताब करेगी।
Well, I'm being joined at this point by Asif Bhamlaa, who's a BJP leader, Krishna Hegde, who's a spokesperson for Shiv Sena, as well as Sanjay Gupta, who's a leader for Shiv Sena UBT, as well as Dr. Uday Nirgudkar, who's a senior journalist. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. Well, first to you, Mr. Sanjay Gupta, how do you respond to this decision that has been made? The Maharashtra government saying now there should be an increase in the cap limit or the income limit for the non-creamy layer within the OBC. How do you look at this?
देखिए, इलेक्शन से पहले जिस भी तरह के फंड कर सकते हैं ये वो कर रहे हैं, इस तरह के अनाउंसमेंट्स कर रहे हैं जो हो ही नहीं सकती। एक तरफ इनका फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर मना कर रहा है कि हमारे पास फंड नहीं है, हम इसको कर नहीं सकते। वो पार्टी छोड़ने के लिए तैयार है, गठबंधन छोड़ने के लिए तैयार है। दूसरी तरफ ये लोगों को बेवकूफ़ बनाने के लिए किसी भी तरह के अनाउंसमेंट्स करते चले जा रहे हैं। ये इस तरह के अनाउंसमेंट्स इलेक्शन से ठीक पहले आपके पास फंड है नहीं और आप उससे पहले इलेक्शन लोगों को दिखाने के लिए कर रहे हैं। जिस तरह से लोकसभा के चुनाव में इनकी हार हुई है, इन्हें इस बात का डर है कि कहीं विधानसभा में भी हम ना हार जाएं। तो आज इन्हें गौ माता याद आ रही है। गाय माता को इन्होंने राज्य माता घोषित कर दिया। क्यों? हमारा तो एजेंडा जब इनके साथ था तो राष्ट्रीय पशु घोषित करने की बात थी। ये थोड़ी ना कि आप सिर्फ महाराष्ट्र में ही आप इसको गौ माता वो घोषित कर दें और 30 रुपए की सब्सिडी देंगे एक गाय पर बस। और इसके अलावा जो जितने भी हमारी गौशालाएं हैं उनका आज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अगर देखें तो इतना लो है कि वहां पर गौ माता की किस तरह से मौत हो जाती है, उस तरफ इनका कोई भी ध्यान नहीं है। मतलब सिर्फ ये नाम के लिए घोषित कर देंगे योजनाओं को भी और क्या कहते हैं आप अपनी किसी गौ माता के लिए भी।
बट ये ओबीसी का जो क्रीमी लेयर का जो लिमिट है, नॉन क्रीमी लेयर का जो इनकम लिमिट है, इस पे आप लोग इनको सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं इस डिसीजन पे या इनके अगेंस्ट है? आर यू अगेंस्ट इट और आर यू सपोर्टिंग इट?
नहीं, वो करें लेकिन वो कर तो सकने की पोजीशन में तो हो। उनके पास इतना फंड नहीं है, फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर मना कर रहा है, पहले इतना ओवरलोडेड हो चुका है, हमारे पास फंड नहीं है। दूसरी तरफ ये किसने से करेंगे? दिखाने के लिए कर रहे हैं। सिर्फ दिखाने के लिए तो नहीं होना चाहिए। चीज वो चाहिए, योजना वो होनी चाहिए जो इम्प्लीमेंट भी हो सके।
कृष्णा हेगडे, इफ यू कैन कम इन, यू आर हियरिंग द ऑपोजिशन, दे आर accusing you of fooling the people.
First of all, Sanjay Gupta, my friend, was not giving proper information. For Gaumata, we are giving a subsidy of 50 rupees a day, that is 1,500 rupees a month, and not 30 rupees a month as he is claiming.
30
Secondly,
रुपीज
let me
पर
tell
डे,
you that all our
30
schemes
रुपीज
are
पर डे
not.
मीन्स मतलब आप एक 1,000 रुपये पर मंथ हुआ।
नहीं 50 रुपया, और फिर भी ठीक है आप जो बोल रहे हैं, लेकिन आपका आंकड़ा आप पहले दुरुस्त कीजिएगा। दूसरी बात यह है कि जो हमारे
तो
स्कीम है,
क्या
लेक
1,000 रुपये
लाडकी हो
सब्सिडी
अच्छा,
या
बंद
okay,
है?
लाडली
let's stick to
बहन
the
हो,
point.
या फिर द वयोश्री योजना, और वी हैव the three gas cylinder yojana, whether we are giving free electricity to the farmers, whether we are giving free ST bus travel, it is not a scheme which is right now. And what he said कि आर्थिक बोझ है, you should know that Maharashtra is rushing towards a $1 trillion economy, and right now we are around $500 billion economy, and Maharashtra has the capacity to absorb such financial crunches, even if it is 46,000 crores spent for the Ladli Behna. And I think if our
Krishna Hegde,
sisters
can
and
I ask
mothers
you a question? Can
deserve,
I ask you a question?
yeah, yeah.
Has the results of Lok Sabha elections scarred the Mahayuti tremendously? Why I'm asking you this? I mean, we did a breakup of how many
Yeah.
MPs from Maharashtra are from the Marathas as well as the OBCs. At least 50% are from the Marathas and at least 9 are from the OBCs. The when it comes to the BJP as well as the Mahayuti, the vote bank, the vote share from this region is a huge concern. The opposition is saying it's all just a poll gimmick. The demand for the increasing the income of the non-creamy layer within the OBC, it's just a gimmick, is what they're saying.
Sneha, first let me tell you the vote difference between both of them, Mahayuti and Mahavikas Agadi, is 0.3%. There is a difference in the seat, but that is because of the false narrative which was in the Lok Sabha election, that Samvidhan ko khatra and Samvidhan badla jayega, which is not the fact. This kind of false narrative will not work in this Maharashtra election, in this Vidhan Sabha election. Secondly, the issues in the national election and in the state elections are two different issues altogether. Here it is local issues. Here it is whether Eknath Shinde has been working for you, whether Devendra Fadnavis has been working for you, whether Adit Dada Pawar is working for you. Yes, they are working for you 24/7. And what happened during the Uddhav Thackeray regime? Except for Vasuli, even in COVID body bags, where 600 rupees of COVID, body bags were purchased for 6,500, or Vasuli from ladies bars, or
Okay.
planting detonators under an industrialist bungalow. We saw that it was a Facebook live government.
कोविड के समय
Ours is a
में
face-to-face
नहीं, संजय गुप्ता जी, so
government,
basically Hegde ji बोल रहे
and
हैं,
there
he's
and
saying
there Uddhav
that
Thackeray has
these
not even
issues
gone to
of the Maratha
Mantralaya
reservation and so on and
two
so forth,
times,
they don't
no, two
matter
times in 2.5 years.
in the state elections. It's about whether the government has functioned or not. That's what Hegde ji is saying.
बड़े अजीब बात करते हैं, कभी कुछ कहते हैं कि मतलब कोविड के समय की बात करते हैं कि हमने कोविड के समय में ये किया, ये नहीं किया। कोविड के समय में तो ये हमारे साथ थे, और कोविड के समय में जिस तरह से उद्धव जी ने जो काम किया उसकी प्रशंसा तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया ने भी की और प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी साहब ने भी की, कि किस तरह से मैनेजमेंट उद्धव जी ने कोविड के समय में किया था। और आज ये हमें मतलब ये भी भूल गए हैं कि कब ये हमारे साथ थे, कब ये नहीं थे।
नहीं,
इस चीजों को
भ्रष्टाचार
सब
हुआ
भूल
है
चुके
क्या
हैं।
नहीं वो बताइए।
मतलब ब्लेम लगाने से
भ्रष्टाचार
ताल्लुक है।
हुआ है क्या नहीं वो बताइए।
आप
भ्रष्टाचार
साथ थे
हुआ है
हमारे,
क्या नहीं।
हुआ नहीं हुआ ये अभी कोई कोर्ट से प्रूव हुआ है कुछ?
अरे हम
कोर्ट से
गवर्नमेंट
भी
के
ऐसे
प्रमुख
तो
तो
आरोप
नहीं
कोई
थे
किसी
ना,
के ऊपर भी
एकनाथ
लगा
शिंदे
सकता है।
जी
और
गवर्नमेंट
आप
के
कोरोना
प्रमुख तो
काल
नहीं
के
थे।
अंदर, कोरोना
गवर्नमेंट के
काल में
प्रमुख
इन्होंने
तो
आरोप
उद्धव
लगाया,
ठाकरे जी है ना, उसमें कुछ
बीजेपी ने
फर्क तो
आरोप
है।
लगाया कि 100 करोड़ रुपए की उगाई। उस समय ना तो कोई रेस्टोरेंट में जा रहा था, ना पब में जा रहा था, ना कोई रेस्टोरेंट खुला हुआ था। उस टाइम कोई 100 करोड़ रुपए की उगाई कैसे? 2 करोड़ रुपए नहीं मिले इन्हें उन 100 करोड़ रुपए में, और कोर्ट में भी किसी भी तरह का प्रूव नहीं कर सके ये।
Okay, let me just get in Asif Bhamlaa. Asif Bhamlaa, is this an attempt to repeat what happened in Haryana? I mean, in Haryana, you had a CM change towards the fag end, and the chief minister then brought in this whole scheme where the creamy layer income cap was increased to 8 lakh rupees. That's what they did there. Is this a model that you're trying to implement? And significant percent of vote share is apparently attributed to this particular change that was brought in by Naib Saini. So is it a Haryana model impact that you're likely seeing in Maharashtra? Is that the attempt?
Well, any model that's successful by any state is resonated with any other state. There is no rule or law that a successful policy cannot be resonated. आज लाडली बहन योजना is a successful policy that worked well for the लाडकी बहनास of Madhya Pradesh, so it's doing in Maharashtra. आपके पेट में क्या दर्द हो रहा है? मुझे ये बताइए, in the last few days, there are more than 160 bills that have been passed in the cabinet. So the government is working and overworking. अब इसमें भी उन्हें परेशानी है. आप अपना काम करिए. आपको देखिए, हम expect नहीं कर रहे कि as an opposition you are going to praise us or be held good of whatever we are doing. So we are prepared. Now, this is what you did in Haryana also. All the polls, all the exit polls said that we are losing, but it was the work of the people. The policies
क्या हम आपके प्रोपोगंडा को बताएं ना कि आप किस तरह से प्रोपोगंडा कर रहे हैं महाराष्ट्र चुनाव के पहले?
No, एक मिनट, बीच में मत बोलिए. ये सबका साथ, एक मिनट, just mute that. सबका साथ, सबका विकास के
डिबेट चल रही है, बीच में क्या आप प्रोपोगंडा को कह रहे हैं आपके हमारे पेट में क्या दर्द है? हमारे पेट में दर्द नहीं है. आप जो प्रोपोगंडा कर रहे हैं, हम उसको बताने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. प्रोपोगंडा चुनाव से ठीक पहले करना ठीक नहीं है. एक तरफ आपके गठबंधन के साथी भागने को हो रहे हैं, फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर आपको छोड़ने को हो रहे हैं, वो कह रहे हैं पैसा हमारे पास है नहीं. कुछ देर हम महाराष्ट्र को देख
let Asif Bhamlaa speak. Sanjay Gupta, let Asif Bhamlaa speak.
सबका विकास.
Okay, Asif Bhamlaa, go ahead.
देखिए, आज समाज कल्याण पॉलिसीज, जो है, इसमें सबका साथ सबका विकास आता है. देखिए, वो बोलने ही नहीं दे रहे आपको. आप इसमें आपने बैकवर्ड्स को भी इंक्लूड किया, मुस्लिम्स को भी इंक्लूड किया. You see, before the elections, the Maharashtra cabinet has taken this 165 bill. मौलाना आजाद आर्थिक विकास महामंडल के फंड्स को जो है from 700 से लेके 1000 करोड़ पे बढ़ाया गया. तो ये मीडिया और ये पब्लिक पॉलिसीज, जन कल्याण पॉलिसीज है, सामाजिक कल्याण पॉलिसीज है. तो आप इसमें जनता का भलाई हो रही है. आज आपको ये चिंता है कि ये
संजय गुप्ता, you're hearing them say, they're basically saying, when you do it, it is great. When they do it, it is wrong.
मौलानाओं की तनख्वाह आज ये 6000 से बढ़ा करके 18000 रुपए कर रहे हैं, जबकि फंड इनके पास है नहीं. इनको दिखाने के लिए वैसे तो कहते हैं हिंदुत्व पे चलते हैं, वैसे तो ये अजान से भी इनको दिक्कत है और मदरसे पे बंद करवाने की बात करते हैं. दूसरी तरफ चुनाव में अगर ये लोकसभा का चुनाव हार गए तो आज ये मुसलमानों को किस तरह से रिझाया जा सके, सिर्फ रिझाने के लिए ये इस तरह के अनाउंसमेंट कर रहे हैं कि मौलानाओं की तनख्वाह 6000 से, मंदिरों के पंडितों की क्यों नहीं करते आप?
Okay, I think you're digressing. That's not the point. Dr. Uday, if I can get you in at this point. Dr. Uday, can you explain to us what is happening? Is this really at a point worry for both the Mahayuti as well as MVA, because they really don't know which way will the votes get polarized? Which way is it going, particularly with the OBC and the Marathas? Is it a big concern at this point for both the alliances?
Sneha, this is a very big decision of state government of Maharashtra, and it is not a surprise. It was coming, and this will have lot of social, economic as well as political repercussions. Last few weeks, last few months, Eknath Shinde government along with Devendra Fadnavis and Ajit Dara Pawar has been trying to woo sub-caste. And if you see the recent decision of the Supreme Court on allowing the states for sub-classification of the OBC and other castes, so this is perfectly constitutional, number one.
Without excluding
anybody.
anybody.
To Mr. Sanjay Gupta, who has been objecting to it, fine. What they need to answer is that if the decision taken is in tune with 2015 data or not, because there is a judgment, Ram Singh versus Union Government of India, which compels to do such kind of classification or inclusion only on the basis of 2015 and later data. If they think this is not followed, they can immediately tomorrow morning go to the Supreme Court and get a stay on this. I'm sure they know that it is not done. Madam, it is very clear. ये चुनाव का टाइम है. everybody will try to woo their
Dr.
voters.
Uday, what's
Be
going
it
to be the
farmers.
political repercussions for the assembly elections? Dr. Uday.
BJP has learned from two things. One is the elections of Lok Sabha and the voting pattern, and second is the Haryana politics elections. As a result, they have quickly moved and started wooing the smaller caste in the OBC segment, which is 52%. As a result, they will have a strong base in that voter segment. And even if Manoj Jarange, who is disguised as the some sort of prodigy of the opposition, they will try to nullify and neutralize it, which is perfectly a well articulated election strategy by the BJP. And what UBT need to do or Congress need to do is to quickly find out an anti-strategy, an antidote to it, rather than trying to find fault with it, because that will not cut the ice legally or otherwise with the people. People are extremely happy with it.
Krishna Hegde very soon coming. You had Asif Bhamlaa who said, we are doing welfare for people. We are only working for the good of people. What problem does the opposition really have in this particular case? You heard Dr. Uday speak. Dr. Uday said that this may legally stand, but the political repercussions are very clear. Let's face the fact. Are you agreeing to the fact with what happened in the Lok Sabha elections? Polarization of votes is a big concern. Splitting of votes, of the non-OBC votes, the Maratha votes is again a huge concern. And therefore, trying to garner and appease minorities and people from all sections is what you're attempting to, is what your opposition in the state and others are as well saying. I mean, over the last 3 weeks, at least 40 such decisions, far-reaching decisions that could have also been taken earlier, Mr. Hegde.
Yeah, it is very clear in the last Lok Sabha elections, the minorities, especially the Muslims, got misled by this false narrative conducted by the Indi Gathbandhan and especially the Congress. And they voted en bloc for the Congress, Uddhav Thackeray and the Sharad Pawar combined in Maharashtra. But here also they have realized now that this is a government, the Eknath Shinde government, which is working. It is the Mahayuti government which is working. Whether it is for the madrasas, we have given them more benefits this time. Whether it is, Maulana Azad, the Ayog, we have given more funds there. So whether it is the Ladki Bahan, Lake Ladli, gas cylinder, or any government scheme, we have not made any distinction between Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, and Christian. And therefore, even the Muslims are part of society. We are working in tandem with the Muslims and seeing that all these benefits with the government schemes are giving are also for the Muslims. And therefore, all these false narratives which these
Okay,
people have been
before I
trying
come to
to
Sanjay Gupta, very
create,
quickly a sequel
I
of
think,
question from Asif Bhamlaa as
that
well.
is
You
going
heard
to be
Mr. Hegde
nullified.
as well speak. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, you as well said that. But when Congress or the Aam Aadmi Party does this, you say it is Revdi politics. When Congress or the Aam Aadmi Party government says, you say this is just wooing the minorities. This is exactly what Dr. Uday has said. This is what the BJP has learned very quickly from the Lok Sabha elections as well as the Haryana elections. Why not just accept it?
You see the difference between India
Asif
Alliance
Bhamlaa.
partners, the revenues that they distribute, and the revenues that they distribute, and the Samaj Kalyan policies that we are doing. You see, we are not confined to just one thing. यदि हमने OBCs के लिए कुछ एक सेक्शन दिया है और कुछ प्रावधान दिया है, तो वहाँ हमने किसानों के लिए भी जो है आपका वो व्हाट यू कॉल सोयाबीन कॉटन फार्मर्स को भी सब्सिडीज दी हमने. तो हमने वही अल्पसंख्यक को जिनको ये वर्गला रहे थे कि भाई हम आपके भारतीय जनता पार्टी आपके खिलाफ है, आज उन्हीं मौलवियों को डीडी टीचर्स द कैप हैज बीन इंक्रीज फ्रॉम 6,000 to 16,000.
But correct me if I'm wrong.
These things are
at
not
least 60 to 70%
one
of deaths by suicide among farmers in Maharashtra. You're talking about farmers. You're talking about farmers. And here my question, I'm sticking to you itself, Asif Bhamlaa. Is it a fact, correct me if I'm wrong, at least 60 to 70% of suicides that have happened, death by suicides that have happened among farmers are for farmers that are from the Maratha region? So while you are saying that there is so much of compensation that has been given to the farmers in your last cabinet meeting, isn't it also an outreach to counter what could be a polarization because of the Maratha quota protests? Otherwise, why wait till the fag end?
You see, Maratha quota protest, we are very much aware, that's been instigated by whom everybody knows that, who's the mastermind behind that, everybody is aware about that. But that is that within the framework of law. When this was in the previous government, when MVA was in power, they could not, they landed up in a complete fiasco to the extent that the submissions were so badly done that that rule of law had to be expelled by the Honorable Supreme Court. It was when the Mahayuti came into power, they got things right, and they've given the legitimate
Sanjay Gupta,
concessions
please
which
respond
is
to Asif Bhamlaa. We have
applicable
2
by
minutes
the
left in
court
this
of law.
discussion.
You
ये
can't
सिर्फ
exceed
प्रोपेगेंडा
giving
करना
your,
चाहते
you
हैं,
can't
इसके
just
अलावा
keep
कुछ नहीं करना
distributing,
चाहते।
आप लोग जब सरकार में थे, ये बोल रहे हैं, आप कुछ कर ही नहीं पाए।
हम लोग जब सरकार में थे तो उस वक्त 2 साल कोरोना रहा, कोरोना के टाइम के अंदर जिस तरह से उद्धव जी ने जो काम किया उसकी प्रशंसा प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी साहब ने भी की और उसकी प्रशंसा
Now with the decisions that they have taken, what the Mahayuti government has taken, how is MVA going to look at this? It's going to be a trouble for MVA because आपके votes भी उसमें जाएंगे।
देखिए इस समय में जब ये योजना लागू ही नहीं हो सकती, इसके लिए फंड आ ही नहीं सकता, इनका फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर इनको छोड़ने के लिए तैयार है, इनके गठबंधन के साथ इनको छोड़ने के लिए तैयार है, क्योंकि ये चीजें हो ही नहीं सकती। इस टाइम में इस तरह की अनाउंसमेंट कर रहे हैं जिससे कि लोगों को बेवकूफ बना सके सिर्फ, और कुछ नहीं। लोकसभा में जिस तरह से हारे हैं उस चीज को बदलने के लिए प्रोपेगेंडा कर रहे हैं और कुछ नहीं है ये इनका।
Dr. Uday, can this be seen as a checkmate move? I mean, the opposition is saying nothing is going to happen. This can't be implemented before the elections. The model code of conduct will kick in. But nonetheless, is this a big move considering the vote share that may be impacted?
आपकी चिंता क्यों बढ़ रही है?
And the vote share by itself, Dr. Uday, just a minute, Mr. Bhamlaa. Dr. Uday, let's clarify. The vote share of the non-creamy layer by itself may not be a very big vote share. It's going to be a minuscule, but the emotion behind it.
Madam, let me update to the audience. Lok Sabha elections, I'm a cephalogist by doctorate in this subject. The postal ballot comes of the government
Go ahead, sir. I have a
employees.
minute.
And postal ballot comes of the government employees, and normally this government employee postal ballot is in favor of the government. In Lok Sabha this time, for the first time since last 10 elections Lok Sabha, I can tell you with my experience, first time it happened that the government employees' votes were against the sitting government. And that's alarming. Now with this creamy layer, non-creamy layer increase, most of the government officers and their kids and their education and their OBC scholarship and their age limit and their central quota access from the state government, all this will change at one stroke. So all these government employees will be having a good opinion of the government, and that is more important in this. And as regards the economic condition of the state,
right, thank you
yes,
very much. I think that's a very important point. But we are totally out of time at this point. Asif Bhamlaa, Krishna Hegde, Sanjay Gupta, as well as Dr. Uday Nirgudkar, thank you very much for joining us. The Battle of Maharashtra is right before everybody.